Well, we've arrived in Camooweal. What you're looking at here across the road is the Post Office Hotel, and we'll be staying at Camooweal for at least one day, maybe even longer. We just wait and see what it's like before we then decide to move on. We've come up from Mary Kathleen today, and it's been rather an eventful trip. Let me tell you about it. We left Mary Kathleen, and as we were driving out onto the main highway, we got a flat tyre, didn't we? So as it's the main highway going west, we had to find some place to pull over. Luckily, you wouldn't believe it, but there was roadwork going on. So we pulled up at the roadwork spot, and they let us go into what they call the dead lane, which is the lane that was the lane that they block off so that they only have one-way traffic. And so we could pull in there and change the tyre. But we didn't have to change the tyre, did we? Because the guy that was running the gang got one of the blokes to change the tyre for us, which was really good. So we then had a flat tyre. So we changed the tyre, took about 30 minutes, and then we proceeded on to Mount Isa. Now our plan is that we would stay in Mount Isa for at least 2 nights, and then move on to Camooweal for 1 night. But we needed to get a spare tyre, didn't we? Because we couldn't go any further than the extra 100 or so kilometres to Mount Isa. So effectively, we had to race around Mount Isa. So there's 3 tyre places in Mount Isa, and we went to the Bridgestone place first. Why? Because I run Bridgestone tyres. Bridgestone tyres didn't have our make or model of tyre, and so they recommended us to 2 other places, the only 2 other places in Mount Isa. So eventually we went to the second one. That second one said, we can order it in, but it'll probably take 2 or 3 days. The blokes at Bridgestone said it will probably take us 2 or 3 days, maybe. So we had no idea. So the other place that they referred to us was Isa Tyres. And we went to Isa Tyres, and they had the same problem. The only difference is that they could order a tyre the right size, but not the right make, because they don't deal in Bridgestone tyres, they only deal in Toyo tyres. But the good thing is that they could have it for us overnight. So that was a good thing. And we were about to say yes and go with that. But one of the staff said, why don't I have a look out the back first? So they did have a look out the back first. And lo and behold, they had one Bridgestone tyre, which was exactly the same size as the tyre that we were looking for. So we had it installed, and we shoved it in the boot and took off. Now, I know for a fact that these tyres, Bridgestone tyres that we run on the L300, in Sydney and other places that I've bought them previously, they're around they range from about $380 up to about $450, depending on where you are. The cost from Toyo Tyres Mount Isa was $80. Yes, believe it or not, $80. Brand new, unused Bridgestone 265, 65 R18s, $80. Never heard of that price before. As you can appreciate it, we took the offer. Due to the stopover, we decided that we wouldn't stay in Mount Isa because as we were coming back from Darwin, we would have the opportunity to call into Mount Isa again. So we elected to move on, and effectively we've come to Camooweal. And I've got to tell you, we're pretty glad we did. Camooweal's a great spot. But in case you're wondering why, Toyo tyres, who don't stock Bridgestones, had a Bridgestone tyre, they happened to recall that a couple of months beforehand, one of their friends had bought a L300, brand new, and wanted to upgrade to more off-road tyres. And he wanted the whole 5 changed. So they changed the whole 5. And about a month ago, they were asked if they had any Bridgestone tyres, and the guy who wanted the Bridgestone tyres had an L300, but he only wanted 4 and wouldn't take the 5. So the situation is that they had one left over that they'd almost completely forgot about. And luckily, the gods were shining on us or smiling on us, and effectively we picked up the one and only Bridgestone tyre that Toyo had. So things can happen on the road, and obviously the gods were shining. We made a decision that we would call into Mount Isa on the way home and spend a few days there, but and move on because we had to keep moving. So I guess one of the things that is paramount on the road is that you've just got to keep moving, and that's what we've been doing. We're off today, and our plan is to get to the Barclay homestead, and then we'll make a decision about what we want to do when we get to the Barclay homestead. Barclay homestead is, we've got to cross the Northern Territory border first, but Barclay homestead's about 340 kilometres from here.